Ming 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 Hero Sims
You're too
and
down.
Virgins. Silence. And welcome back to Krown's magical, extremely serious Magic Internet Money Cave.
Yes, there we go. The Magic Internet Money Cave is back, baby, as we head into a nice little crypto summer over here. Very little happening in the last, realistically, in like the last week or so. Bitcoin trading in the same old range, same old time. We're in the same old fucking bat cave right now. Anyways, a few things to really discuss today. And actually, I am looking for likely a resolution of this range today. At least it would make sense if we do have a nice little event overhead. It's FOMC minutes. Yes, it is not exactly a full-on meeting, but it is minutes, and typically, you know, they do kind of move markets on that. It does provide a bit of a volatile event, which can bleed into some of the higher term time frame signals that we've been looking at and discussing on this channel for the past, I guess, like past 7 to 10 days now, I'd say. So I do believe that we are going to see the culmination of these signals maybe start today, probably a little bit more likely around end of this week, and then definitely extremely likely early this next coming week, as that is going to be, I believe, the new month. As I just referenced my calendar over here. Yeah, it will be the new month, so that actually would kind of play into the analysis. Anyways, I'll save a lot of that fun stuff for the actual video itself. I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking and sipping on caffeine, so if that massively pisses you off, it's probably not going to be a good time today. And as I just realized the title that I put on this video, man, I am losing my creativity. Holy shit. Anyways, want to wish everyone a happy and healthy Wednesday. Yes, have a happy Wednesday in your life. 726 people watching on the video right now, 182 likes. We're doing well. We're trending up a little bit because we were at the bottom last time, but you know what? It's all good, man. It's crypto summertime, and I do figure that most people are probably, you know, doing other things in life, to be quite frank. Anyways, with that in mind, I do want to welcome everyone in here. I want to see, oh my lord, I see Mr. Gaylord, the Lord of Gays. Fucking beautiful, man. Good morning to you, sir. One of the best names, among the best names on YouTube. We have Mr. Gaylord, Suck Me Sir, Some G, and who is the other one? There's 4. There's definitely 4. Who? Krown's chest hair. And huge ass titties. Yes, that's him. Huge ass titties is number 4. Holy shit, man. There he is. And Philson, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Chaotic Rage. Faraz, the good old man. Good to fucking see you, brother. Good to fucking see a good friend in actual real life as well. And funnily enough, I've actually been meeting more and more people on the streets here in real life. In fact, I just met another guy yesterday from the community here in Helsinki, and just, you know, really cool, chilled out, relaxed people, very interesting to talk to, and it's actually really nice, in fact. Anyways, I see SK, I see Darian, I see Zulu Brothers, I see Greg Smith, one of the OGs of OGs. Actually, maybe even I think Derek M was actually first before you, but definitely one of the OGs. Yes, there he is, Derek M. Speak of the devil right there, the OG of OGs of OGs. Holy shit, man. It's like I wonder even how people even found this place when it first started, nearly, or actually a little bit more than 4 years ago now. In fact, I believe it was March of 2018, in the heart of the last bear market, and now we get to go through it. Well, we're going through it yet again, which is rather interesting. In fact, just out of just kind of speaking, you know, as an aside right here, it's very interesting to me to see, especially on like crypto Twitter recently, you know, over the past, I'd say like 2 to 3 weeks, a lot of people, or at least a very common post that I'll see is like, the bull market is still on, or what's the other one that I said? If this happens, the bull market is over. It's like, sir, we must have different definitions of bull markets, because in my experience, when you see an asset go down 50% fucking twice in the same goddamn year, or the same 365 days time span, not calling that one a goddamn bull market. Sorry, just that's personal boundaries here. Can't fucking call that a bull market. I'm sorry. And it's like, right now, I saw this post yesterday. It was great, man. I'm not going to call out this guy because he doesn't need to be picked on or anything like that. Or maybe he even is even right as well. Maybe it's different perspective, perhaps. Definitely possible. But he had a very interesting insight as he was like, if this happens, if Bitcoin closes below, like, I don't know, it was like 25,000 bucks, the bull market is over. It's like, sir, Bitcoin went from 70,000 to 25,000 bucks already. Don't think it's a bull market. Don't think it's a fucking bull market when that shit happens. Jesus Christ, man. At best, we're accumulating for a very relatively long time, to be fair. And as you can see, I got the Krown trading crypto journal. It's like, can't even get my own words out properly. We got the trading journal out over here. As always, I want to hammer this one because this is where I really do feel like you know, we can do the most value in the Krown trading application, which is free. You can get the base functionality of this for completely free. Obviously, if you want to have more you know, journals and whatnot and entries, and yes, we do require premium for that because, you know, the data host and everything for all of this like costs money. Also, the development costs like a lot of money as well. It's always very interesting to me. The reason why I mention this is because every once in a while I'll get a comment like, Krown's shilling his app again, just wants to sell his app. It's like, sir, most of it's fucking free. And then second off, do you have any idea how much this shit costs? A lot. A lot, man. So I'm sorry if we require a little bit for that. It's like, oh man, that's an interesting life sort of way to go about life. But yeah, you know, in this case over here, I always want to hammer this in because this is what I truly believe that, you know, can actually make you successful. You know, anytime that I meet someone or talk to someone who is giving me like some sort of a success story, they always go back to the trading journal. They're like, man, you know, realistically, the big thing that I learned from you is that there's no way around doing this mundane work over here. But look, is it mundane work? Is it fucking mundane work if you just if you can relate it to or understand that this, you know, could lead towards a skill for life and also a skill that could, you know, provide you a living as well. For me, that's a very, I don't want to say motivating because motivation is fleeting and floating. So I never want to be relying on that, but you know, I can be more disciplined to be adherent to that with that sort of a, you know, with that sort of a timeline in mind. You know, it's one of those things. I feel like you're going to have to fucking work anyways. You're going to have to put effort towards something. Why not put it towards something that can actually, you know, give you some value back? No, fuck that, man. I'm watching Netflix. No, fuck that. I'm watching Lizzo's Big Girls with Elsa, which is the things I want to say on YouTube, you can't fucking say. They're very good dancers, though. Very good dancers. You learn so much with backtesting. Exactly, Sean Waller. Exactly, because you get to see that how the strategy plays out in, you know, in time. And a lot of the time, you know, like your strategy, a lot of the time, if you haven't actually worked out and seen it, you know, time after time and time after again, it, you know, going through the whole rigmarole of what typically happens once you get your entry, you'll probably be easily tilted by price action doing the random things that it'll do between the start and finish. You know, a lot of the time that can be very devastating or very impactful on the emotions. But one of the things that I always come back to is actually this pain right here. Honestly, one of the most important pains, the two most to me is first the P&L percentage, and then second is actually the time elapsed during trades. Because one of the things that I always come back to whenever I start to, you know, get a bit of an emotional ping when in a trade, it's like, okay, how long is this theoretically supposed to take? Or on average, how long is it supposed to take? Is this more or less than what I'm currently doing with right now? Well, if it takes an hour and I'm currently in minute number 10, probably should stop worrying. You know, probably should realize that this is completely normal. And hey, until the risk limits get hit, just let it do its thing, man. Just let it do its thing. I see Elizabeth J. I see Big Egg Roll. I see Frivolous. Good morning to you as well, man. Good stuff, fellas. Good fucking stuff. Anyways, I want to bring up my notes over here. I'll get off the trading journal for right now. And again, a lot more functionalities coming to that, and we're gonna be building up that as much as possible. That is like my main fucking thing right now. It's like I want this damn app to be trading journal exclusive almost. Maybe not exclusive, obviously, for, you know, we're always going to have this stuff over here. Because honestly, the funding rates have been surprisingly, like, not surprisingly, but just hilariously accurate in getting the day's direction. You know, would be a worthwhile thing to do. And I'm actually going to do this myself as well in anticipation of an upcoming strategy that I might be speaking about. But it's just something as simple as this. The funding rate on the short-term timeframes related to the daily open versus close. If it's positive, is the daily open higher than the daily close, and vice versa for negative rates. I've only begun backtesting it a bit right there, but the results so far have actually been better than 80%, which is really fucking weird. Now, here's the thing. Just because the open and close, you know, might be in alignment with that direction, doesn't mean it's going to be that by that much, but still, it doesn't need to be by that much in order for it to potentially be a strategy. Although I imagine there's going to be some nuances with that, obviously, and probably some And there's definitely going to be some optimization there, because obviously in the few events where that does not hold true, usually goes a lot in the opposite direction, which is not going to be fucking good. So risk would have to be defined in a more sophisticated way, I do think. Anyways, Luna's still in a healthy correction. Yeah, just a pullback, bro. We're just pulling back down to macro support, and the whales are accumulating this bitch. I fucking love seeing that stuff, man. It's like, what the hell? Elizabeth J says, Luna never coming back, bro. Lol. Oh, man. What? How dare you say that? Do you know how many hopes and dreams you just absolutely shat on, Elizabeth? A lot, apparently, because man, or woman, I have been reading. I like to do this every once in a while, not to like laugh at other people, but just to get an insight into, remind myself that the downward spiral can come very, very quickly. But I like to read like Reddit for Luna, you know, after an event like we saw. I think it was like, I guess it was a week ago. Was it only a week ago now? I think it was 2 weeks ago actually now. But just kind of like read how, you know, how easy it is to kind of lose a shit ton of money, really. Kind of crazy, man. Do Kwon retrusts his filth. Yeah, perhaps yes, man. Amadeo Siona says, Krown, you're my dad. What? Does that make you mom? Does that make you mommy? It looks like my camera is being shitty again. So hopefully this stream is holding up well. I think so far, at least the data feed has been good. I should also remind you on Instagram, I've been more active posting there on actually my Krown crypto account, but I'll do more actually, or at least the idea is I'll do a lot more on my personal account. I just need to figure out a way in order to transfer these reels, which my man has made, which are actually really, really cool. It's really interesting to see the feedback on it as well. It was actually really interesting to see a lot of good feedback on that. My fear was that I was going to come off as like one of those fucking, you know, one of those fucking cringe influencers, which, you know, a little bit of, you know, there's going to be a little bit of error in that as well. But, you know, my purpose there, or at least the idea is that I want to be providing not just like highlights or anything like that, because I don't want to be that person. But what I do want to do is kind of talk about experiences and whatnot that I feel like have that I've learned from, and that maybe can help other people as well. So a bit of a selfish endeavor, but hopefully some altruism on the other side as well. Nimbo, there he is. What's up, man? Yeah, influencer, exactly. I really dislike that word. It's like, I'm gonna wake up and just influence everyone, bro. I'm gonna influence them to work out, lift, eat healthy. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know, man. It just comes off as weird, I think. Anyways, bored ape caught monkeypox. Jesus. Well, yeah, I'm actually curious to see what that looks like. I'm sure it'll come up today. Glitchy camera reminds me of the 80s. Yeah, it's you know what's funny, man? If you were here like 3-4 years ago, I had this like really old, just garbage camera, and then I had this even more garbage green screen to go with it, and it just looks so awful. If you go back to videos from like 3 years ago, it's still there, in fact, but we had a lot of fun with that, honestly. Still, this is actually even a little bit better with that in mind. Mr. Switch, Mr. Alex Switch, good morning to you as well, man. Good to see you. And Sam Fragnosi, would you rather trade the moons or counter trade Hodu? I don't know who Hodu is, so you know, the moons ain't so for all the shit for all the shit that you can give the moons. I mean, it actually works okay, at least from results. That's all I'm saying. Back test it for yourself. But I don't know who Hodu is, so I don't know. Counter trading is difficult, though. Counter trading is very difficult. You know, people always like to say that as like a dunk on someone else, right? But I don't know if that can actually. I think it'd probably be more difficult in practice, to be quite fair. Anyways, must binge then, sir. Yeah, I'll take a few more on this. Wojak is the best trader aside from Bogdanov. Did the Bogdanov brothers actually die? I only trade the moon cycle, says Michael S. I mean, again, to be fair, like, the results are not that bad. I mean, the results are not just not that bad, they're actually good. If you go ahead and backtest, it's better than 80%, which is fucking insane. Like, none of my strategies that I backtest are really better than 80%. One of them prints 80% on paper, but I don't think that would work out in actuality. We're going to get 2 crazy moons during the summer, says Crypto Yellow Vest. What's up, Monami? Is that like a thing? Is that like an astrology thing? I'm not too familiar, to be quite frank. Do you think Luna can hit some extremely low number by end of year? Who the fuck knows, man? Yeah, that is an interesting thing. Now, I don't want to talk downwards to those people who Mr. Gaylord is referencing. I don't really know them that well, or know them really at all. But it is going to be very interesting to see a lot of the influencers, if you will, who were really kind of heavy on Luna. How are they going to deal with the aftermath of that whole situation and the fallout? Because if you are going to be running your channel on fundamental analysis, which is fucking garbage. Sorry, just kidding. Fundamental analysis is great. It's been not used much since the 80s, but it's great. No, you still want to know a little bit, obviously, even if you are a short-term trader, of course. But at the same time, it's like looked a lot like a fucking Ponzi, when I actually looked into it, which is interesting because these people will also be very quick to talk shit about other projects, which they, call Ponzi's as well. And it's like Luna actually really did kind of look like one, to be fair, at least from my perspective. But I'm no expert in that domain, and perhaps I'm just talking out of my asshole right now, which maybe I am. And again, I'm not trying to talk shade towards these people. I'm just curious to see what that situation is going to look at over time here, because again, if you're going to be running your channel off that, how I don't know. I'd be interested in hearing their side at least. Luna was worse than BitConnect. I mean, it kind of was, man. It kind of was. Oh God, yeah, Cardano. Cardano is a very interesting one as well, man. Jesus Christ. Stephen Conway has been banned from George's channel. What did you do, man? Did you leave a mean comment? Just looking at some of the data over here. I do think that it's rather interesting, again, to see the leverage ratio crawling up basically towards all-time highs. Well, it's usually never been a great sign, but it's kind of hard to judge as well, just because the general trend is obviously to the up, but at the same time, these extremes do seem to get some pretty amazing moves on price action. But I'm gonna have to look at that more on my own in order to maybe find a relationship there. But for right now, just kind of like generally looking at it, definitely does produce a lot of the major highs and lows, but judging where the next one's supposed to be is actually kind of is quite difficult. So I don't know if it can be used directly on its own. Anyways, Elsa on the what's it called, on the Twitter account, which you can find in the description below as well, has been posting a lot of the data from there, mostly with the funding rates, just because those have been actually so valuable on the hourlies especially. But we'll also post other stuff as well. But this is the one that actually pay most attention to, the funny rates, and then open interest over here. Those are the two big ones for me. And then to a lesser degree, keep an eye on the leverage ratio and Bitcoin dominance, but not as relevant to me because I'm not really trading altcoins to begin with. Anyways, Jim Kramer says the bottom is in. Really? I think that we might have like a short-term bottom. It's definitely possible. I need to drink more of this coffee though before people get very mad though. Aloha from Honolulu. Holy shit, man! You live in paradise. That's amazing. That's incredible, dude. Good morning to you as well, Mr. Lev. Good morning, Mr. Tom Struck. Bitconnect. That is just filthy, man. That is just filthy. I wonder what's also going to happen, like legally speaking, because I do know that he was summoned, Do Kwon at least, or at least the story is that he was summoned by the South Korean government officials. But then again, that's not like the same thing as like a legal trial. That's just, they probably just want to know information. Who the hell knows, man? US dollar is a scam, says John Clancy. I don't know, man. It's been working. At least it works when I go to the grocery store like this morning. They worked there, so it seems okay to me, man. Yeah, I understand where that's coming from. But hello from the Bay. Hey, sweet, man. I actually grew up in the Bay. Grew up in San Francisco. When are you going to start live trading, says Murtaza? Definitely not going to be live trading. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, that's such a bad idea. One, legally, that can be construed as financial advice. Difficult to prove, obviously, but I don't really want to put myself in that position when I don't have to. And then two, I'm not so interested in giving out my strategies, to be honest with you, like exactly what I'm doing as far as trading goes, just for the price of free. Especially, like, that doesn't really seem like a good deal. I don't know. Do you have a different idea on that? Probably yes. Give me everything for free. It's like, okay. Okay. Why are you in Helsinki, Finland? Well, one would be to my girlfriend, and then also two because I like it here. Hey, Nikki Page, good morning to you. Please read the pinned post. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, stop loading the fucking chat with shitcoin requests. See, the problem is also, like, even if I did have a signals thing, which maybe I will do like a copy trade at some point, like, I wonder if those trades will be automated for people who would sign on to an account like that, because it would be quite difficult because, one, you'd have to be in like the same time zone to even like initiate them. And then two, most of my trades, the strong majority of my trades on, very short-term timeframes now, especially as things kind of get more and more volatile. So unless if they could automate it, I don't think it'd be very difficult to do. Yeah. Yes, to signal software is getting better. What does that even mean? SFO here, nice. And Krown a cheap razor and shave cream for a clean shave. Yeah, not gonna be doing any of that, man. I like my beard. I used to hate it, but now as I get older, I'm quite glad that I do have a little bit of that. A good script can make it happen easy enough. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if other people want to trust in that, but it's also like, you might also not like my trading style. I will be very, very quick to be in and out. I do not like holding things, especially for a long time, nor overnight or anything like that. I'm not going to be doing any of the, what's it called? As I kind of reference my actual accounts over here. I'm not going to be doing any of the, what's it called? Fuck, my brain is farting. Fuck, I just lost it. I'm actually got my, yeah, I'd like to make sure that I actually take care of this if this does come my way. There we go. Okay, lovely. All right, beautiful. And let's make sure that we're good over here as well. Okay, and what else was it? DG says, notice monthly BBWP ticked up off the lows for the first time. Actually, no, I haven't noticed that. Let's go take a look. Let's just go take a look really, really quickly. Has it ticked? Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so it is even above the moving average as well. I like to see the moving average also, swing around and get at least a neutral and preferably a positive slope, but that is a really good sign that we're about to see the next, we're about to see like the next major move. To be fair though, there is something to be known about just monthly BBWP in the sense that all the times that we have seen it like very, very low, and the actual expansion phase from there has been an accumulation period. So I think that does start to align rather well with my idea that, my idea of kind of like best case scenario for Bitcoin is, accumulating between, what is it, like 35 and basically low 20s for probably at least until end of summer, maybe longer than that as well. And hold on, I just got hit over here. Nice, okay. Let's make sure that we take care of that. That would be good. That would be good. And then also, what, hold on. Okay, yeah, I think we're fine. All right, sweet. And what was my, okay, sweet, yeah. We good. Okay, now where was I over here? Yeah, I think that kind of plays into my idea of like what the best, theoretical situation is for Bitcoin here. It's like probably accumulates between that region for, a while, realistically. All right, let's try this. Actually, let's try that. Okay. Lovely. All right, beautiful. And let's go back on over here. Still got a few more sippy sips ready. Do you only trade Bitcoin? Yeah, I only trade Bitcoin. It's just, to me, it's, sometimes I'll trade Ethereum as well, but Bitcoin, especially when the market is down, I want to be trading with US dollar or USDT as my collateral. And I'd usually want to be trading Bitcoin. I think it just plays more technically than most other things. Ethereum is okay as well. It also plays rather technically, and the moves are just a little bit bigger, but at the expense of having less liquidity. So getting filled it's usually not like a major issue or anything like that, but looks like Bitcoin's going to spill back on over here. Oh boy. And let me actually get ready for this as well. Okay, where were we on that? Yes, okay, 29. I would like to close. That would be good. That would be very, very good, in fact. Okay, and actually I missed a decimal there. There we go. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Let's see, Bitcoin going down as well as, yeah, a little bit of, overall higher term timeframes range, short term timeframes. Looks like it just put in a little bit of a short term top, as you would expect after going on a nearly $1,000, yeah, actually about $1,000 rally, pretty much unabated right there on any of the lower term timeframes. Pumping at FOMC, then dump Pulitzer. Yeah, I do get quite on edge during these events where, you kind of have a move leading up into it, and then usually the event fades it. That is something that I've noticed as well, and it sounds like you probably have. I mean, I am technically speaking, yes, I am Murtaza, but I'm not like, I don't want to. There's a difference between like showing everything and then just actually like doing it while you're also recording a video. Basically, a really cool strategy is sending you what? Let's see. Mimi machine. You must be an OG as well, man. It's been a long time since we've spoken about that. Ho ho ho. What the fuck is that? Santa Claus over there. There's not always a pump for FOMC. There's usually like there's usually like counter moves coming into it. I've seen both upside and downside, typically based off of like the current sentiment, right? So in typically, downside markets typically come down to support into an event like that, and then they might bounce. So that's your counter move, and then vice versa for upside markets, which is most of what we've actually seen coming into basically 2022. Oh, there he is. Huge ass titties. Nice, man. I could use a good pump. Elsa is lucky. Darth Maul moves, kills both sides. Yeah. We actually saw a pretty good one of that yesterday. In fact, it's kind of late-ish in the evening for myself, but we had like a 4-hour range of nearly $1,000. Yeah, actually exactly about $1,000. Just literally $1.50 below $1,000. That is interesting right there. Higher margin and low leverage, or high leverage and low margin. I don't look at things in that way. I only trade on cross leverage, and I really don't want to be going over like 5x leverage anyways. So, I will do it on some of my scalp accounts that are basically to kind of prove a point. But ooh, excuse me, whoopsies. Gains Lord? Holy shit, Gains Lord. Thoughts on Polygon long term? I don't know, probably bad. All right, just one more sippy sip and then we'll get right into it. Need to make sure that my notes are all streamlined over here. Okay. Yes. Yo, what's up? Says Mookie Monster. Brother, is that Mark B, like the Mark B? Brother, ever hear of misophonia? No. Oh. God damn it. Misophonia as well, sir. Me love you long time.
Don't worry about it.
I do like Bybit. That's why I do have a referral link to them in the description. They just have the most liquidity for basically trading on leverage. They also even have options now too, and they do have testnet accounts. So all of that I am more, I'm more in tune for. Anyways, let me just make sure. Okay, we're gonna do this. Are we doing this or are we not doing this? I think we're doing this. This is good. It's a good start to the day. All right, I think we're ready now. Okay, let me throw this over here. Elsa's new word is, oh, okay. That's gonna be your new fucking sign off too. All right, let me plop this in over here. Okay. Yeah, I have water. Thank you. All right, here we go, starting off with Bitcoin as always, and let's actually go to a shorter term time frame. The same old range and the same thing that we've essentially been looking at for the past, I guess, almost 2 weeks now. And we do have an event coming in a little bit later today. That is going to be the FOMC minutes, not meeting, which is less important than a full-on meeting, obviously, but markets typically do move. And seeing as things are kind of, corked up here for a rather likely volatile event, especially considering that daily, whoops, let me actually bring it up right here, daily BBWP is literally at 1.19 percentile on CME, and actually rather low, of course, on spot price action as well. We probably are going to be looking for a resolution of this range, which can have major implications for bleeding on into higher term time frame signals, which we've been looking at for the past 7 to 10 days now, which I do believe are going to start to come to fruition. Maybe starting today, probably more likely end of this week, and then very, very likely beginning of next week, which actually does start off that new month of June, which is kind of what we've been saying is the likely area to see this next move come from. So in this case right here, The range, if we want to go over it, is, you know, it's the same thing as before, right? Basically basically 31,000 bucks the upside versus about 28.6 to the downside. We did not see any sort of a closure yesterday below that very specific 28,600-ish region, even on a short-term time frame. So what does that mean? It means no resolution equals no continuation, and the range continues right here. So I suspect that in between the time now, which this video is being recorded in the morning of Wednesday, and the event a little bit later today, it's probably just gonna be more of range. I suspect that we're unlikely to see a breakout or breakdown on the overall daily range, obviously. But here's the thing: the signals that we've been looking at are still very much relevant here, and like I said, we can very easily start to see this one, you know, maybe even start today. So what I want to bring you over to is, of course, this chart over here, if I can see. Yes, this chart over here. Now, we've been hammering on this chart just like I typically do when, you know, when we have a chart like this that does have a good amount of history and a good amount of data. And, well, I'm going to hammer on it a little bit more until we see it essentially play out. And that is the daily volatility versus stochastic momentum chart. Anytime that we have seen daily BBWP, which measures volatility, which is a dispersion of returns, of course, get below about 10 percentile, the expansion phase from there has on average led to about a 20% move, sometimes a little bit more actually. In fact, the last one was a decent amount more at about 26% move, and typically happens over the course of about 7 to 14 days, or sorry, 10 to 14 days. Now, the average time taken is a lot more variable, to be fair. So I do want to be a little bit more, you know, hammering on that, because it's, you know, it's not as well documented as the actual percentage moves. And in this case, you know, we are setting up for yet again another one of these moves. So what would essentially constitute a resolution of this signal, and then what would likely beget the direction of this signal is the real question. So first and foremost, to actually confirm and even, you know, initiate the signal, we need to see the daily BBWP curl back around. It doesn't need to necessarily look exactly like this, but get another positive slope, and then preferably the moving average on this also gets positive slope. If you see both of those two things, that is a signal essentially. And then what we've been looking at for the past 11 or 12, actually now I've actually backtested a little bit more now, you know, just one more actually, but technically speaking, out of the last 12 iterations, as I get on my drawing tools over here, 10 of them have been correctly identified by the direction of the daily stochastic momentum oscillator. So that is I would say, a pretty damn good, you know, pretty damn good test right there. And if we go into it, we will notice for the time being, the daily stochastic momentum is actually still vertical to the upside, and will be remaining with upside posturing as long as Bitcoin's above 29,000, basically 200 on a daily closing basis. There is a nuance with this though, because we haven't actually seen the volatility expansion happen just yet. It's still, you know, a possibility, but certainly not confirmed. The longer that it takes, this is very, very like specific here, the longer that it likely takes to see this expansion happen from the daily BBWP, again, specifically with the BBWP getting a positive slope, and then, you know, a secondary confirmation with it, with the moving average also getting a positive slope. The longer that takes to happen, while this continues upwards and onwards, the more and more likely that next signal will actually flip back down around and become a bearish signal, similar to what we saw on actually the last one, in fact, which was in April over here, where Bitcoin, or sorry, the daily stochastic was up, but no volatility expansion, stayed on the lows for a long time. Then we saw it get a nice little pickup right here, get above the moving average, also getting a positive slope, and then of course the direction on that tick was actually to the downside, and then the fall through for a nearly 26% move happened shortly after that. So when I say shortly, I mean about 13 days after that, from top to bottom, essentially. So in this case right here, I do think that this one is certainly worth waiting for. Personal opinion, could there be another way to play it? Yes, absolutely. You could be looking at range resolutions, which probably do play alongside that volatility expansion. But here's the thing: if we're looking at an average move about 20%, we can forecast general targets for this, which would be, as you can see right here, about 35,000 to the upside versus about $23,000 to the downside. And of course, that has major confluence with some of our other major things. Going back to this chart over here, if we pull out to the higher term timeframes, you will very likely notice that there is a nice big old gapola on CME coming in from 6th of May over here at about 35,000 bucks. And if we go and put in a macro fib on this from the major high, or it's not actually a macro, but a major fib on this from the high to the low of this overall range that Bitcoin's been in for about the last few months here, the 0.5 comes in right around there as well. I would also be looking at the 618 and the 382 as areas of interest along the way, meaning that if Bitcoin does trade up somewhere around here, I would be looking for at least a bit of a pullback on the daily. That's the 382 at about 32.5 to 33,000 bucks, kind of in the middle right there. And then in the event, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. In fact, I think this would be rather unlikely. But if we do see a closure of the 0.5, I would be looking for next leg up somewhere around the 618 in this case. Until then, just range or resolutions above these specific regions very likely beget a test towards the next one. And until then, like I said, as long as this remains to the upside, the probabilities of seeing this move to the upside is actually greater than the downside. But that is not confirmed until we do see the daily BBWP expand. Until then, it's theoretically, it'd actually be more likely to be bearish over time because it's probably going to turn down when you get that volatility expansion. But hey, as long as this condition is met, I would not be running with that. Similar to what we said yesterday, essentially, which Bitcoin did bounce off the bottom side of the range yet again, which I did not call for anything like that. So I'm not going to claim victory or anything, but at the same time, just understand ranges as range does, and especially coming into an event like today, we're probably gonna be waiting at least until that event happens for range resolution. Other than that, I did want to bring up this chart over here because I want to talk about the long term. So let's say that Bitcoin does actually bust on out to the upside. I do think that it is rather unlikely that we have seen the lows. The reason why is yet again this chart over here. So I just kind of want to temper expectations that even if Bitcoin does get a move up to, let's say, even 35,000 bucks in these next few weeks here, I would caution against getting caught up in the sort of excitement of that for the long term, that is. The reason why is because we have never seen a macro low ever in Bitcoin's history without seeing the monthly accumulation distribution indicator go into, one, the red zone, and then two, get a positive slope from there. Right now, we're actually not even in the red zone. Now, we're extremely likely to cross into it at the end of this month, which is coming in, basically a week, a little bit less than a week, I suppose. But ultimately, that would even imply that we probably have at least another month or two hanging around these lows and then get a positive slope. If we see something like that, that would be the first sort of macro indication that I'd be looking for to say, hey, Bitcoin, the accumulation period is likely over and we're probably going to see some long-term macro upside. Probably going to take some time, obviously, but that would be a really, really good sign. Anyways, you can backtest this yourself. I basically marked off all of these green vertical bars correlated to major shifts in the slope of this indicator at the extremes. And you can see that, over time, it's been actually incredibly good in timing these sorts of major moves. Less so with the moves to the downside, to be fair, but very much so to the moves to the upside, calling essentially the lows in. So I think that's a good place for me to leave off on this video. Should probably shill my Instagram. Yep, we got Instagram. It's in the description below. Any other account other than that account is a scammer. So probably don't respond to whatever the hell they're asking for. And then two, what was the other thing? Yes, Bybit. Yep, we got a Bybit shill there as well. Other than that, is there anything else that I missed in the short-term timeframes? I mean, this would theoretically be a good place for a lower high. We could even go through momentum oscillators here as well. In this case, I don't see any potential hidden bearish divergence yet on a 4-hour time frame, so I'm not super concerned with what it's doing, but I really don't have too much to be saying in the lower term time frames in general at this exact moment. Other than that, let's see what stochastic momentum is looking like. Where are the pivots right now? 6-hour is pivoted at 29,250. This is on CME. I'm curious if spot is similar. It's loading. 29,400. Okay, somewhat similar, I'd say. Yeah. And then over here, let's go check out the 4-hour. The 4-hour is pivoted at 29,250 as well. So it's coming up multiple times now. 3-hour is going to be showing, pivoted at 29.2. So a lot of things coming in around that low $29,000 number or so. And then hourly is actually flippy floppy right here, but not super. I don't really have much to make out of that. All right, cool. Hopefully that was helpful. Keep an eye out for that event a little bit later today. I expect that there's probably going to be some nice floaty price action as usual, and then we'll come back tomorrow and kind of assess the damage and where things likely land. So. There's one last thing as well. Fuck. The 5-day. We're getting a 5-day closure today as well. and the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator, which we did not cover in this particular video, so I'll do that tomorrow. That number is coming down rather heftily here. So if that one does come down, significantly again, that would be a good indication that we probably do see this mean reversion bounce first to the upside, and then then maybe trade to the downside after that sometime in middle of summer or so. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Bitcoin sirs and zers. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's actually gonna be really, really interesting to see in these next, in this next like 7-day period how these all kind of line up with each other. But for right now, to me, it does look a little bit more like Bitcoin's probably putting in a bit of a low right here. But hey, I would not be running off of that just yet. It's had several times to break down, or several chances to break down. We do have declining highs at the same time, so kind of makes it difficult. But yeah, other than that, I really want to be calling resolution here until 1 above 31 or 2 below about 28.6. Same shit as before, basically. Until then, it's what Mr. Burglecunt's been saying. it's a game of fucking ranges, and that is actually a very, 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 very simplistic but beautiful way to be trading, and honestly, one of my more favorite ways as well. Okay, cool. African Crypto Warlord says, I am here to deal with your complaining. Smash the button before you go crypto yellow. Wait, what? And Dixie, please, sir. Actually, I'm curious to see what Dixie looks like, but again, coming into an event like today, it's going to do whatever it's going to fucking do. We did say that it's probably going to come to the downside here, somewhere around low 101. So far, we've seen a low of about 101.64. I still think that it probably reaches a little bit lower. But even within the context of this, somewhat downside move, long term, it's still very much bullish. I mean, this thing could even come down to like just below 100 and still be very, 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 very long-term bullish, but not really seemingly helping out Bitcoin. Now, I've heard some theories as to why that is. Has to do with, of course, what's it called? The Europeans. The Europeans there. Ooh, I got another one. Okay. Let's just take care of that. Very nice. All right. Cool. And good morning. Enjoy spliff while we carve out the market. Relax. I like it, man. I like it a lot. More power to you, sir. More power to you. Okay. Let me get on to the chats over here. I actually have them hidden away for right now. Okay, boom. And what is this? What are these notifications going on right now? Capo T goes first. Okay, got it. Let me just search out where he is. Okay, I see. Yes. You're looking at near on the 4, 12, and 24. Okay. All right, so near. Yeah, this one's fallen out of favor, hasn't it? As they typically do. Ugly, man. Looking like it's putting in a short-term high and coming probably down towards 580. Somewhere around there on the short term. That's an hourly, though. I don't think that's relevant to you, maybe. 4-hour. Ugly, just downtrend. 12-hour. Oh, another fucking downtrend. Daily, all ugly, man. Definitely on the weaker side of things. Do I want to record a video on this one or not is a real question. And yeah, I might as well. Here we have near symbol NEAR versus the dollar, and we have a nice, healthy, and nasty downtrend. Short term, looking for a bit more continuation here, likely maybe even down around the low side of this range between about 560 to 570 or so. But just like Bitcoin, though, that doesn't necessarily constitute a range resolution to the downside. So in this case, I would still be waiting for an actual closure below the bottom side of the range, which I guess we already have in, which is about 555, I suppose. Below there, I would be looking for the next leg down, probably somewhere around about 460-ish, let's say. But again, remember that we do have an event coming in later today, so markets will move very, very likely based off that. So it kind of makes it difficult to judge beforehand. Anyways, everything, though, that I'm looking at from a technical perspective does suggest downside. We do see another drive of hidden bearish divergence on 12-hour RSI, even getting rejected from getting out of the bearish control zone daily. Same thing, not good. Honestly, this one looks like it's ready to fall off the cliff, and definitely relatively weak. So I would only be looking for a short-term reversal here if you do trade above, I think this is yesterday's, no, 23rd of May's high. Yes, 23rd of May's high, so 2 days ago high. At that point, I wouldn't even be looking for like a big bad breakout, just to move back up towards your daily range highs, which is about 7.25 to 7.5 or so. Other than that, I really don't have too much to say about near. It's definitely on the weaker side here. We can just briefly check out stochastic momentum and see where it's kind of pivoted around. And Where is it? Daily turns down below. This one really looks like it wants to fucking fall down, man. Daily and 12-hour both looking for downside pivots below about $6. 4-hour is fucking ugly, man. Yeah, I'm if I was just looking at this one, I'd say bearish, but you know, just for now, I'd probably be looking for another test down towards your range lows, and then, you know, event later today might be the catalyst for actually breaking them. If not, same bounce, you know, same range as Bitcoin. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for near sir. Okay, let me plop this in over here. All right, let's see. Salt the snails. Oh my God, that's terrible, man. Exxon Mobil. Okay, so symbol XOM. Okay, on NYSE, and you're looking at a monthly. Okay, bullish. I do think that you're getting ready for a pullback relatively soon, whether it's here or officially at like 97.5. But ultimately, this is very, very strong. So pullbacks very likely just get more continuation coming into, you know, the rest of summer, I suspect. Let's actually, speaking of that, look at a quarterly maybe. Yeah, generally speaking, I do think this one will actually trade above $100. But, you know, it depends, like, are you more interested in the short term relative to this time frame or not? If you are, I might be looking for a short term pullback at around 97.25 to 97.5. But that's not the same thing as reversal. I'm looking for a general major macro continuation here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one break out to new all-time highs maybe in the next year and a half. Yeah, really, really strong move right there on all higher term timeframes daily. It's just continuation. So I think you got at least one more stab to the upside from here, and then kind of judge it after that. So let me just double check. Did I get out? Yes, I hope. Yes, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, Godhead says, "Yo, Krown, can you check out Hex?" I know. All right, fine, man. I can check it out. It's just promise to protect me from the mob. Well, looks like it's, holy shit. I think it's almost hit my 6-cent target from like half a year ago, and I think it will be hitting it sooner rather than later. Yeah, maybe closer to like seven and change right there, but. Yeah, you are getting a silver cross to the downside on the weekly. 5-day obviously already has it. Yeah, best case hopium scenario is not going to play out there, so we can just negate that obviously, but that's why it's called hopium, because it's not very likely. Everything's in free fall here, man. There's going to be bounces along the way, but I do think that this one, you know, you're probably going to see a nice bounce relatively soon, somewhere around like low 7, maybe 7.25, something like that. And then below there, I'm probably looking somewhere more close to like 4 to 4.5 cents. Long term, you know, this one is in quite literal free fall. I would not be surprised at all to see this one honestly down to like 2 cents in the next year or so. I know that that's, you know, not going to be a very popular statement with a certain community, but I'm just looking at charts, and I was quite bullish on this thing on the way up, and I've been extremely bearish on this thing on the way down, and I don't really have too much to add on to that. Not trying to cheat my own horn there. I just want to hopefully I'm being as fair as possible to an asset like this, despite some other things. But, you know, it's the same signal over here. Hidden bearish divergence. Volatility is the lowest we've ever seen it, and expanding off of that. I would not consider this move done until we see volatility, or sorry, BBWP on the weekly back around at least above 50 percentile. So I think this one has, you know, a good amount more to go. But again, there's going to be bounce along the way, so it's not going to be a fucking straight nuke down. Weekly, Jewel is about to get another downside signal, which is just not good there. 5 days already front running it, as you would expect. So yeah, probably going to be a nice bounce though on the daily relatively soon at like low 7s. So hopefully that was helpful, man. Hex is a religion. It's very interesting, man. Like I really actually enjoy reading Richard Hart's Twitter, just like the comments on his post, because people aren't necessarily like, it doesn't really seem to me that his followers or his community really believes in like the project, or at least that's not what they talk about. What they talk about is, well, Hex to the moon, and then also they just talk about Richard, which I guess like they just trust him so much. And well, fair enough. I mean, fair enough. They probably back tested it, so all good. CZ says, Nvidia monthly, any long-term accumulation area to keep an eye out, or did the bubble pop for good? I mean, to say that the bubble popped for good would be probably not wise, because I mean, is this thing like never going to go up again? I doubt that. I mean, unless if the company actually literally dies, but that that could take, 5-10 years, right? Anyways, long-term accumulation. I mean, I think that you're going to see some big monthly bounces off of like 130 to 135. But if things really, really get nasty here, and if the traditional markets do kind of what I think they're going to do over the next, 2 to 3 years here, this one could, come down to like $50, 50 to $70. That would be kind of like my macro accumulation range. But again, look at the higher term timeframes. I think strongly there's going to be bouncing like the 130s, but I don't think that's going to be the low, man. We're getting our first quarterly bearish divergence. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down below $100. I do hope that's helpful, but yeah, kind of nasty right there, man. Kind of nasty indeed. All right, let me see. Where are we at over here? Okay, and boom. Very nice. Okay, what was I just doing? Yes, I was over here. Mr. Super Googly says, can we look at MCD? Is this McDonald's? I've actually never looked at it. I'm guessing it is. It is. Oh my God. It really even looks like it too. Not that bad on the quarterly compared to what we just looked at, nor the monthly compared to what we just looked at. But, I think worst case scenario on the okay, you're on the daily and weekly, so maybe you don't care about this, but I do think worst case scenario long term is like $200 daily. Put in a nice little rally right here. Does it get continuation or not is a real question. I do think it'd be relevant to at least expect a short-term pullback here on the daily, maybe back down to 240. And then I'd be looking for maybe one more leg to the upside. But I would even flip around to being bullish on this thing. If you can trade above your April highs, which is 259.5 or so weekly. Same thing right here. Other than that, I don't have like any super strong opinions. Long term though, low 200s is kind of where I'd be looking for. If it does have another like major leg down alongside the most of traditional markets, and that can again take like, maybe around end of this year. So I wouldn't just blindly say that that's like the most relevant thing for right now. If you're just on the daily, short-term pullback, and then as long as it just doesn't drop below about 240 or so on a daily closing basis, I'd probably be looking for one more try to the upside and then come back to it after that. Okay, see Varmageddon, he says, hey Krown, S triple Qs. Yeah, I just saw it pop out right there. I also want to try this. And the good news is that the stream is working rather well now, so that's nice. Okay, yeah, just make fun of me. Okay, wish I had a supportive girlfriend. S triple Qs. Okay, what do we got? I'm guessing this is one of those straight down charts because yeah. This would be a really good place for a pullback, right? But I do think that we're probably going to see some continuation after a bit of a pullback. So what time frames are you on and what is relevant to you? Okay, 4 in a daily. So monthly is not fucking relevant to you. So probably more likely to pull back relatively soon. Maybe after one more try towards like 64. Pullbacks can come very easily down to like low 50s, 52 to low 50s essentially. But again, this is all higher lows, and I do think that this one, generally speaking, will have continuation in the next year to the upside. But where would I be looking for on higher lows here after a bit of a pullback? Could be as low as like $50. I think that would be kind of a stretch for right now, but at least short term, I'd probably be looking for like, low, probably 52 or so. Hopefully that was helpful, ma'am. Go up. Okay. Go from up. Okay, got it. All right, so we got Daniel Welch. He says GMG. Okay, this is on Canadian exchanges. GMG. Okay, on this one here. Yes. Okay, I see. Thank you for specifying, sir. Weekly, monthly. Interesting one right here on that daily or that 4-hour closure. So that's not relevant to you. You can see some characteristics of reaccumulation here in like the 290 to 310 region. So that's actually kind of okay for long term. I'd even say that is relevant, especially as long as you're above 290 on a closing basis on the weekly. But that would also imply that best case scenario is you're probably going sideways here for a while, something like this, right? And then if you trade above the range highs, yeah, great. But what was the other time frame you're looking at, weekly and monthly? Obviously that means below the range low, so you're probably going to come down like significantly hard, like 180 or so, which would be really ugly. All right, is there another thing for me to do over here? Ooh, there actually might be. There actually might just be. Hold on. Un momento. Let's see. try some of that action. Let's try some of that action. And then what is that? Okay, 78. All right. Okay, I'll take that as well. There we go. All right. Yeah. I do want to kind of go back here for a second and give it more of a look. I do think it is going to test the downside of the range again, though, like soon, probably in the next month and a half. Lord Wadsworth says, that's a good one. Lord Wadsworth says, DAG Constellation. Okay. Symbol DAG. Okay, on KuCoin and short and medium term price targets based off of what fucking strategy, man? No way to answer that. Ugly, weak, probably coming back down to the bottom side of the range, which is like 9.5 cent or so. Closing below about 9.5 cent on even a medium term time frame, and this one very likely retests like low 8s. It's very, very weak here, but look, whichever direction Bitcoin goes, this one's going to fall, but it is certainly a lot more poised towards downside continuation. Hidden bearish evidence on daily RSI. I mean, that probably at least retest the bottom side of the range. And again, if you start to break below there, probably looking somewhere around like low 8s, maybe upper 7s, something like that. But yeah, definitely a relatively weak chart. Not great, sir. Not great indeed. All right, let's see. And can I do this? Yes. Okay. Yes. It's good. What are you laughing at? What are you having to laugh at? Let's see. Based on how, well, if you're on higher term timeframes and you're kind of making a correlation between how low I think Bitcoin may go and how low this thing could go in correlation to that. I mean, if Bitcoin chooses the downside route, I'm probably looking for this one. I mean, probably to retest those wick lows if things get really nasty, somewhere around there, which would be like low 6s. What are you laughing at right now? You're banned. All right, Lord Wadsworth is looking at Mina. Okay, Mina protocol. What the fuck? Do we go to Binance? I guess probably Binance. Awful, fucking terrible. Short to medium term buy. Why would you want to buy some garbage like this? Why? Who has a fucking gun to your head? Like seriously, this is just absolute bullshit. Like, I'm sure if you read their white paper too, it's like, it's probably like, we plan to become successful by convincing all banks of the world to adopt our crypto coin. Dude, this is terrible. Fucking terrible. Why would you want to buy? Would be the real question. Anyways, look, it's probably coming back down to the lows, low 90 cents. Probably going to try for another short-term bounce there, but I'm not calling a reversal there. This is fucking garbage. Absolute fucking garbage. Absolute fucking garbage, sir. Not good, man. Not good. Mr. SK says Aave 1 in 4. Gotcha. I mean, look, if Bitcoin tumbles, most things, the strong majority of things are going to make new major lows. Ooh, and I just got another one. Okay. That's been a nice and eventful day already. That's good. Be busy. Okay. Aave 1 in 4 hour. Okay, 4 hour right here, short-term pullback. A little bit, to be fair, in the short term, relatively strong, but I would not trust it to go up. It's not like a good thing, even if Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes down here, obviously. Short term, I do think it comes back down at least to like 99.25. If you start to fail below about 99.25, I'd extend downside targets back to your lows from yesterday, which is 93.5 or so. Other than that, this would be a great place for another lower high. And would we have hidden bearish evidence? We got 47.38 versus 47.23. Technically no, but that's like not a strong signal anyways. The 12-hour would, however. So yeah, man. Very, very bearish below 96.5 or just anywhere below yesterday's low, basically. Anywhere below yesterday's low. Probably looking for this one to extend into like the mid, maybe even low 80s. Yeah, not great, man. The more that I look at altcoins, the more that I think most things are coming to the downside here. So I'm probably going to eat my words from earlier in this stream. Okay, all right, and let's go here as well. All right, nice. Okay, let's see. We have Adam Kalane next, says SQQ. Yes, we got that. Still think $80 in its future this summer. Was that the continuation? Actually,
No, he changed his
okay.
request to SAR.
Can you spell it for me?
Go down, it's there.
Go down. It's there. SARK. Oh, short arc. Okay. This is going to be good. This is just mean to Kathy. Quite bullish, man. Probably looking for extension towards low 70s, 72 to 73 in a half, and then probably a little bit of a short-term pullback from there. But I'd still be macro bullish on this. Just generally looking for upside. Weeklies bullish. Monthlies, I mean, monthlies not really having enough history here, but yeah. I'm generally looking for another try to the upside. Short term probably pulls back at around 73, 73 and a half. And then, you know, do we get continuation from there or not? Probably yes, but probably takes some time as well. Hopefully that was helpful, ma'am. Cool. All right. Let me just pull back to where I was. And we are at Adam Klein again. He's looking at Kava. Robot dance is sexy. Nice. I thought it was good too. Kava. Okay, on B knots. Again, another great place for another lower high. Again, it depends what time frames you're looking at, but 4 hour likely pulls back to maybe 269 or so short term. Anywhere below yesterday's low, and I'd be very willing to call this your next daily lower high, and probably comes down to like 220 or so, maybe lower than that over time as well. Until then, you know, let's say just you get a short-term time frame pullback, and then Bitcoin bounces later, you know, on that event, then maybe, you know, you see a continuation somewhere around about 340 to 350, but that would really only be validated on a move back above your range highs here, which is 301. Yeah. Other than that, no real strong opinions there. No real strong opinions there. Let's see. Dr. Bitcoin says, Krown, have you taken a look at the hash ribbons lately? No, because I don't, like, once something stops working, I don't use it. But we can bring it up over here. I mean, to me, it was invalidated. So it's like, what are we going to do now? I mean, we're still in a recovery phase anyway. So there's not anything to really be doing here, at least in the way that I look at them. How do you think that may play into a macro low? Well, extremely unlikely you get a macro low until at minimum you get a fucking buy signal in this thing. And Jesus, yeah, it's still theoretically going to be a while here. So, you know, will it play into that? I'm sure that they will, you know, they'll probably happen around the same time we get that accumulation distribution indicator signal. But for right now, I don't think it's just not relevant. It's just not relevant. So until we actually see this give a buy signal, which is literally going to take like weeks at best, probably more like months, again, assuming like everything goes as best as possible from here. You know, I just think it's kind of a non-event, not something worth focusing on until it's like at least within striking distance, which right now it's nowhere near. Let me go on to a different time frame over here. Okay, we'll pull back this one over here. Let's see. All right, McJudge says, Sup Krown, I'm back testing a new strategy involving hourly funding rates data on your app. Is there a way to download all historical data in Excel? I don't know. That would be massively useful. Sorry. That'd be massively useful, but I don't think that we have that. I can ask our developers if that's something that we could maybe host, because I think that would have a lot of value. I'll be speaking with the team on Friday, so we can bring up some things there. And yeah, feedback is certainly welcomed on it. But yeah, I think that would actually be, you know, if that's like easy to do, then sure, why not? You know, could only help, right? Let's see what Bitcoin's doing in the short-term timeframes here. Looking a lot like a lower high there. Looking a lot like another lower high. Okay, let's see. Fib Mahinachi says near far and daily. Yep, we got that one. Yep. Okay, I got it. Can we do FTM or Sol? Sol probably more interesting here, because I can always record a video on it as well. And ugly as fuck. Here we have Solana symbol SOL versus the dollar. Again, keep in mind, we do have an event coming a little bit later today, but if I'm just looking at technicals on this one, not great. Hidden bearish divergence on the daily, and we do see that BBWP is rather low alongside a downside signal on the daily jewel. You know, if I had to call it just from technicals, I probably would be looking for this one to retest back down to mid-low 40s, so somewhere between about 44.5 to 45 and 75 or something like that. 4 hour time frame down. I mean, it just looks like another failed rally attempt. You know, most of these things look like they're getting ready for another downside move. So let's say Bitcoin loses the range low. So this is a hypothetical here. And then related to this one, I probably look for this one, maybe to come back down and retest its wick lows, something like that. Nothing bullish about this chart, like not even corrected bullish about this chart as long as you're below basically your range highs, which is 59. Let's go reference where stochastic momentum is pivoted over here. I just want to see like if it's truly terrible or if there's some hope. 12-hour is pivoted below 50. That's not great. Daily is pivoted at 47, which you're getting quite close to right now, but not below yet. 4-hour is 48.25 and 6-hour is showing 48.62. Did you stand up too fast? Anyways, anyways, Elsa's having issues standing up in the background, so I think that's a good place to leave this one off. Again, heavily bearish as long as you're below basically 59 bucks. Short term looks like wants to kind of come down and retest the lows, but I wouldn't validate that until you trade below at least yesterday's low. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, John Johnson says, why do you exclusively trade crypto? I just think that there's the most opportunity here, and just it's there's what's it called, less the least barriers to entry. So if I were to go trade traditional markets, you have to sign up on the platforms, and then I'd have to also be on a traditional market schedule, which I live here in Finland, and I like to wrap up my day before usually 5, maybe 6 at most. So for me, it's like that makes trading traditional markets just not worthwhile to me. I'd rather like have the nights to myself and work during the morning. Let's see. Mr. Venegas says, can you check out ETC on the 1 and 4 hour? Potentially going to go short. Okay. This is the Ethereum Classic. Yeah, I don't really see this one being spoken about. This is really fucking interesting here, though. Doing something completely different than the rest of the market, but how much do I trust this thing on its own? I don't. I don't, man. So you're basically at the range high. So, if you are going to take a range trade, I mean, you have a very obvious invalidation point, which would be essentially like 25 and 60 or so. Until then, are you likely to come down here or not? Yeah, I do think that you got a little bit of short-term downside at least, back down to like 23.80. Personally speaking, I do think that this one will come down a little bit more than that, towards 22.80 in this case. If you're only focused on the short-term timeframes, the next most important thing would just be any sort of a move lower than, is this today's low? Yeah, this is today's low. I'd be looking for like a retest of 20 bucks or so. Not great, man. Not great. Okay, let's see. Roban says, can you look at perp? Do I just type it in here? Perp. Okay, all right. I'm actually not familiar with this thing. Down, very likely down here. But what time? You didn't give me any time frames, man. What am I supposed to do on this? Great rejection, right exactly where you'd expect. Another lower high. If you want to see another lower high, very fucking ugly long-term chart for the history that we do have. At best, I'd only ever look for corrective rallies on this thing. Like, let's say Bitcoin does catch a bid towards like 35. Like, this is hopium right now. I think best case scenario, this thing would trade up towards like 270 or so. Long term, terrible. Any sort of a move below about 1.25, and I'd be looking for this one to retest your lows here at a, basically $1, somewhere around there. Very bad. Very, very bad. Okay. Let me just scoot on over here as well. All right. And let's try this. Okay, good. John Dude says Dow USD on KCoin. Okay. DAO.
Can you check the last comment from him?
On John Dude. For my super chat, my time frame for Dow is daily and weekly, not weekly and monthly. Gotcha. Okay. Let's go to a daily. Pretty bad. Let's go to a weekly. Also quite bad. But at least it hasn't made new lows from last year, actually, which most other things have. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyways, you are on, again, a daily and weekly. Okay. I'm actually having a lot of trouble on this one because this would be theoretically a really good place for another lower high. But I would refrain from getting like super bearish on it, like looking for continuation to new lows until you actually trade below your 19th of May low, which is not helpful. That is like literally your low for right now. But the problem is that I'd be a lot more adverse to calling any major continuation as long as you're basically, above this region, because this is kind of like your macro weekly lows here. Long term, obviously the trend is down. So to me, the game is, where's the next lower high? So if you go back to a daily over here, to be fair, it does look like it wants to come down in the short term. It can come very easily down to like 169. That still wouldn't be a lower low just yet and could bounce from there. Definitely possible. And if it does catch any sort of an upside bid, you know, 235, maybe at most 260 or so. You know, I wouldn't even be looking for upside like to those regions until you're back above your range highs, which is 207.5 on a daily closing basis. Until then, you know, short term, I do think it's got one more downside move here. Like most things are kind of looking like that right now. Let's actually go back to Bitcoin and see, you know, what Bitcoin looks like. Yeah, I mean, this like literally just looks like another lower high. The only thing that's really holding me back from calling like an obvious just fall through here. Jesus Christ, man, dude, you got way too much fucking time on your hands, sir. Is that we don't have hidden bearish divergence on this one. But do we have any time frames that might be building it up? No. We might get phantom, but daily also no. Yeah, it would be a lot more obvious if we had that present, but we don't. So I mean, it really does look like it wants to come back down to like 29,000, to be honest with you. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, let's see. Where was I? Okay, I was over here. Help says FTCH weekly all-time high by end of year possible. With crypto, probably not. Okay, this is it's Farfetch. This is one of Elsa's websites. I think she gets like designer clothes from Farfetch, right? Yeah. Yes, I know it. All-time high by end of year possible. Don't fucking think so. What? Sir. It only needs a 10x from here, baby. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, I think business not going too well. Business not going too well. There's going to be bounce along the way, or I mean, maybe not, honestly. It's pretty fucking bad already right here. It's like, no. I mean, usually I want to say there's going to be bounce along the way, but this thing is just ugly here. I mean, if it does catch a bounce, like maybe $16 to $20, I think best case scenario, like let's say we get like a very epic bear market rally, but yeah, very, very ugly right there. Did you maybe mean a crypto? No, because no cryptos pop up there. So that's good. Jay Tino says, hey, Krown, can you take a look at Netflix? Yes, NFLX. Okay, now's... Jesus, man. Ugly as fuck here, too. Okay, daily. Okay, so where's your range highs? Where's your range lows? Range highs right here, 204.16. Range lows, basically your low right here, like 165.5. You know, what are we more likely to do here? Kind of actually need to go to the short-term timeframes here. Not really getting too much from this in the short-term timeframes. You know, I know it's not relevant to you, but I just wanted to see for my own knowledge. You know, weekly, it's like when we look at it, you know, where's this one out on the macro, right? It's like, is this one closer to a macro bouncy area or not? Yeah, it is. You know, if it has one more leg down, somewhere around the 200 simple on the monthly, like 150 is where I'd be looking for. But, you know, these are kind of more bouncy regions. Long term, very fucking bearish, obviously. So, you know, whether you bounce out from here or maybe a little bit lower, it's probably something like that and then down again. These are macro tops. I think the quarterly says it all. Yeah, quarterly is very, 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 very ugly there. So maybe a little bit more down, but I do think you're getting ready for a bounce. But I would also go on record as saying I don't think that bounce is like the low, if you will. I think that is unlikely to be. Okay, let's see. Curtis Ferguson says mole end stock. Okay, well, okay, we got Corey C. Rune Perp. Okay, Rune Perp. Daily and weekly. Probably not gonna have it on the perps. I mean, ugly and uglier, but you know, it's like most things come into the bottom side of their weekly range. It's like, are you going to call a breakdown here, you know, exactly when you're on the bottom side of the range? In my experience, that's never a wise thing to do. But, you know, if I go down to a daily, does it look like it's strong? No, it doesn't. I would, however, call a nice big bounce with any sort of a move back above 380 with targets up, you know, maybe even to like the mid fives, like 540 to 550 or so. Until then, you know, any sort of a break below your 20 to 21st of May low, even yesterday's low would be bad enough. Probably retest these wick lows over here, and you know that probably does catalyze the actual breakdown of this macro range, and that's where free fall can really start to occur. You know, probably down to like $2, maybe even 150, something like that, man. Pretty bad stuff. Pretty bad stuff, sir. All right, okay. Where was I? Mr. Venegas is back. It says XTZ 1 hour and 4. Okay. All right. I mean, I think most things are probably going to fit the bill for what you're asking, Mr. Venegas. 4 hour, you know, very similar to the last chart that you asked about. Short term, nice little range high going on right here. Probably looking towards 190 to 192. Hourly, same thing. Maybe a little bit lower towards 188. You know, I generally think that most things are coming down here. And if this thing even trades below, what is it? What is yesterday's low? Yeah, anywhere below yesterday's low, and I'd be looking for this one to have a move towards 160 or so. Very, very likely. Let's get that going over there. That going over there. And let's get... Man, I did not get my fills. Motherfucker. Oh, well. Oh, well. Happens, man. Happens. Anyways, let's see. Curtis Ferguson says MULN stock. Okay. Mullen Automotive. Bad. Daily no pooping animal gift, please. It's fucking bad, man. Look, I mean, you might get one more try to like 140, but I do think this... Jesus fucking Christ, dude. This is terrible. I think it's a lot more likely to see those 60-cent lows before any sort of a potentially sustained rally. And I think all rallies probably get arrested at least below $2. Like, very ugly. Very bad. Okay, Jay Header says AMP, daily weekly on Gemini. Okay. AMP, USD. Oh, you said on Gemini. Okay, my apologies. It's like I literally just read it. Daily and weekly. Again, ugly as fuck. You know, any sort of a downside breakout on Bitcoin. Probably looking for this one, you know, around 1.1 cent or so. Daily. Daily, if you trade below yesterday's low, I mean, probably you see that move towards at least 1.2 in the short term. If you can trade above range highs, which is 147, I'd be looking for a nice corrective rally towards 1.7 region. But again, corrective, not the same thing as reversal. Not great. Not great here, man. Short term, very likely coming down. Very likely coming down. Very ugly. Mr. Mournfall, good morning to you. Can you please... yen versus dollar? Yeah, we could actually look at that. Let's look at that. JPY is my ticker. And actually, let's look at USD versus JPY. This is the chart that I actually have been following for a long time now. And I'm going to guess it's still macro bullish, but in the short term, probably pulls back a little bit more. Anyways, what were you looking at? 4 hour. Falling wedge regroup, then blow up. Let's see. Nah, I don't think it's necessarily going to work like that. I think you probably retest your lows first, honestly. See what the hourly looks like. Yeah, I think you probably retest your lows first. This one's always a weird one, though, man. It pumps and dumps out of nowhere. It kind of trades like a shitcoin, especially versus pound. Long term, I'm still going to be very bullish on this long term, but you hit, you know, some macro levels here, so probably short term maybe extends a pullback a little bit more. You know, if I'm looking at the daily, I think you probably try for a low at about 125.5 to 126, somewhere in that range there. Somewhere in that range there. Okay. Where was I? All right. Let's go back over here. Frivolous says 10-year yield relation. What is the actual ticker for that? I don't even know. TYT. For some reason I have it in that. Let's see. Actually don't even know because I never look at it myself. You'd have to tell me the ticker. So if you could tag Elsa in a post and just let her know, that would be good. That would be good, sir. Tag me. Tag Mina. Tag Mina. Let's see. BK says APUSD 4 and daily. Okay, let's see where this one's found itself since last time. Still on the weaker side, still looking weak, still looking like it wants to come down, man. Still no break though below the range lows, which is 7.25, but below there I'm looking for a move towards 660, 665 region. Daily, I mean, not strong here, man, but if you like, their range highs are very fucking far away. That would be 970 above there. I'd look for, again, a corrective rally towards your, you know, 12, maybe even $13 region, but I think that's rather unlikely to happen. I think it's a lot more likely to trade to the downside. And again, if you know, Bitcoin breaks out to the downside or shows any weakness, this thing probably retests its lows overall. So be aware, sir. Be very aware. Okay. Let's see. Frivolous says 10-year yield relation to other markets. What do you mean other markets? Brief, please. Again, I don't. I need some more color on that, man. Yeah. Yeah, you can close them now. It's probably a good idea. Neil says IOTX. Okay, daily.
Previously said US 9-year bond fix.
Yeah, give me a fucking ticker, man. For the love of God. Let's see. Daily. Okay. Ugly. Again, another great place for a lower high, man. Very, very bearish as long as you're below 4.6. Above there, you know, corrective rallies to 5.5 is okay, but this one looks a lot more likely to come down to 3 cents rather than that. 4 hour, short term, probably coming down to 370. Not a fan of a lot of these charts, man. Not a fan of a lot of these charts. Yeah. Again, if you can move above that 10th of May high, though, I would look for a nice corrective rally, but I think it's kind of unlikely here. Okay. Yep, I just got that one. Martin Hunt says, can you look at XMR 1.4 and daily? Yeah. I already read it, sir.
Did you?
I literally just did it. Again, another great place for another lower high. It's right at the fucking 55 there too. You'd even have a hidden bearish divergence going all the way back to your highs from like 4th of May. Any sort of a trade below yesterday's low, and I'm looking for the next like week or so, or maybe 2 weeks to come back down to 150, maybe even down to like your 135 low. Very fucking bad, man. Very fucking bad. 4 hour, probably bearish divergence here. Yep, short term, probably coming down to like 188. Hourly, same thing. Nothing bullish about it until you basically close above that 23rd of May high, and even then it would just, well, you know, at that point, probably looking for a move towards 220. Yeah, weekly. This would be a good place for it to come back down. But I kind of think that the LARP lines are still somewhat likely here, in the sense that, you know, you might grind out these lows a few more times, but I would refrain from getting like super mega macro bearish as long as you're, you know, closing above 135 on a weekly. So yeah. Okay. Did Frivolous get back to you yet, Mr. Oh, actually, DJ Themi just jumped in. ACH on the daily. All right, can you close them? By the way, I'm quite hungry and my throat is starting to hurt. Thank you for taking care of that, Miss Nikki Page. Again, another great place for another lower. I mean, these are fucking ugly. These are really, 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 really bad. Okay, let's see. Pin my message. I'm waiting for your message to populate here. Just give me a moment. There it is. Takes a few seconds, and now we're good to go. Okay. Let's see. You're looking at ACH on the daily. Yeah, again, just fucking ugly here, man. Nothing bullish about this chart at all whatsoever, as long as you're, especially closing dailies below like 2.7. Even then, it's just a corrective rally, and this is just fucking garbage. Probably more likely to come back down towards 185 region. Again, especially if Bitcoin shows any weakness, that would be very, 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 very not good. Let's see. Let's try 10 there. Okay. Let's get that. All right. There you go, baby. There you go. Un momento as I adjust over here. Okay, lovely. All right, where was I? Yes, LRC for Mr. Venegas. Okay, 1 and 4 in daily. And then I'd still like to make sure that we do get Frivolous if he's still around. Okay, what was this again? A 1 and 4. Okay, yeah, and daily. Okay. 4 hour actually does look like it has maybe one more try short term up, maybe even around 60 cents or so, but I would not be calling any continuation as long as you're below basically your wick highs right here at about 63. So short term, it could actually have another short term upside move, but again, like another great place for this one to kind of be topping out within these daily wick high regions here. So hourly, yeah, actually we already did that one. Hourly and 4 hour, you know, might have one more short-term upside move into like the low 60s, but I'm not calling continuation there. Continuation only had above basically 23rd of May high on a wick basis, or closing higher high above 63.5. If one of those two things is met, then I'd be looking for something like that. Ooh, baby, yes. Okay, very nice. 85. Okay, there we go. There we fucking go, baby. There we go. Okay, all right, so this will be the last one. All right, thank God. Just barely fucking caught that one. That is the issue with trading on stream. I thought he could pull up a 10-year chart like, oh, okay. I thought you were talking about 10-year yield. No, sir,
He said it's so good.
well, we can just, if you want to look at like Dixie or traditional markets, that's not the same thing as like a 10-year yield chart. So I'm just like a little bit confused as to what exactly you mean. But, you know, again, long term on Dixie, you know, I'm very, very bullish on this on the quarterly. But short term, do I think that we pull back more? Yeah, I do think so. I think that we probably try for a low, maybe around like 101, 101 and a quarter, something like that. It's kind of the same target that we had coming off of this formation here, which was end of last week. You know, weekly, can that one pull back even more so from there? Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I think, I mean, you got higher lows as long as you're even above $100. So $100 would be actually a nice round even number. So just want to kind of base off of, but, you know, short term, medium term, more likely to pull back a little bit more. Probably gonna be a bounce short term, somewhere around 101 and a quarter. I do think that things can maybe even pull back a little bit more from there, but ultimately long term, if you're looking around like maybe end of summer, that's at the point where I'd probably be looking for this one to be moving off of its lows yet again, and, you know, trying for some upside over the next few years here. I'm very, very bullish on this chart, man. I mean, nothing's really changed here. It's just, you know, when you're looking at a quarterly, moves slow, obviously. So in this case, you got your quarterly BBWP lifting off from the lowest levels it's ever seen ever, and you're seeing that alongside hidden bullish evidence on quarterly RSI, plus RSI getting back in the bullish control zone, plus just a general range breakout here as well. It looks like it's kind of in order, so pretty fucking crazy, man. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trading at least around 110 in the next couple years, maybe even like $120 in the next 3 to 5 years. But again, quarterly, it's going to take a long time, so if you're only focused on like the daily, for example, probably short-term downside. And then I'd be looking for bounces somewhere around here, come back to it after that. Bounce probably does fail, and this one probably does come down a little bit more. And then I'll be looking for like the actual low, maybe somewhere around 100. Cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's it for today. An hour and 35 minutes into this one. I am massively hungry. My voice started to fail me a little bit as well, but it's been a nice pleasure speaking with you on this lovely Wednesday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland. Nice and bright and sunny outside. We had our first like almost 20-degree day of weather yesterday, and it was really, really cool. Elsa's happy now, which is good. And I am hungry now, which is good because I'm going to go make myself some food. Anyways, I want to wish everyone well. It's been a nice and fun day. Keep your eyes out for that event a little bit later today. And I suspect that we probably get some nice and volatile price action with a lot of opportunities in between. So with that said, take care, wishing you well as always, and see you hopefully soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it.